Rick Skillman from Celestion, and welcome to the 2011 NAMM show. It is our honor and privilege to welcome Mr. George Lynch back to the Celestion family where he rightfully belongs. And
where we all belong.
Where we all belong, right. Thank you. We spent 2 years working with George on what we all believe to be is one of the most toneful speakers to come down the pike in recent history. It takes some of the romance that you're all familiar with of a vintage Celestion with a sprinkling of clarity across the top end, more power handling, and everything that George was basically asking for, saying, hey, this is the tool I need to really knock it out. And I'd just like to say welcome back to the family. We look forward to it. The Lynchback 2011 is just going to be amazing. Okay, so I'd like to introduce Mr. Nigel Wood, the president of Celestion.
So the way we like to celebrate the launch of this new product, this collaboration, the Lynchback, is to open some champagne. So without further ado, let's go for it.
Beautiful. This is my favorite part, by the way. This is kind of what the speakers are like.
Yes.
It's like drinking like $300 a bottle champagne.
Full of energy.
Right.
So welcome to the family.
All right.
Cheers, guys.
So I want to thank you guys so much. This has been an honor to become part of back into the Celestion family and work on a product that I could be hands-on with and involved, which it creates a lot of pride, for me and my family that they see that we work so hard on these sorts of things, and we hopefully leave a legacy that will contribute to tone questers everywhere, and guys looking sort of for that help that they need to get to that sound that they are hearing in their head, which we're all a slave to that. So I'm just trying to help there. So
this is really cool. The Lynchback speaker by Celestion. Celestion is such a legendary speaker for rock guitarists, especially. We're just creating the most amazing recordings in the history of rock and roll. And you must be really proud to have
pretty much define the history of rock and roll. I mean, they're right there with Marshall and Gibson and Fender and all the great brands and names that established that were the tools for the Four Horsemen, Beck, Page, Clapton, and Hendrix, and everybody else that came before and after them. From what I understand, I'm only the second person in their 90-year history. I think it's 90 years. They've been making speakers that long? I think so. I am the second person in their history to have a signature speaker, which is an incredible honor.
It is.
That's even better than winning like Miss America, I think. I don't know, I've never won that, but if I were to win it, I probably wouldn't like it as much as having my own signature speaker.
Tell me a little bit about the concept of what went into creating the Lynchback speaker.
I've been using a lot of old vintage cabs, and of course I'm a big fan of the basket weaves and the 60s and early 70s Marshall cabinets, the checkerboards and so forth. To me, they have a lot more give and expression and saturation and sort of touch to them that isn't harsh, and it's subtle and it's dynamic. And all these words don't mean anything, and they're all sort of subjective words that may be one thing to you and one thing to me. But all I know is when I use these old speakers, for the most part, with the right cabinets, it responds the way I want it to, the way I hear it in my head. Finding a new speaker that did that has been very challenging. We set out to design something with the right paper, the right glue, the right magnet material, and the right weight, and so forth, and the right frame, and the right voice coil, so that we could achieve that. And we started out with roughly what is known as a greenback, and we worked from someplace we knew we were starting somewhere we knew we liked. And what we tried to add to that, without subtracting anything, was a little more power handling capabilities.
I noticed it's 50 watt.
Right. So you got the Greenback, and you got the Greenback 30 watt, and everybody knows that it's a universal thing that's accepted, and everybody knows what it does. It's the standard. It's the gold standard for rock speakers. And we thought, well, a higher powered version of that would really make a lot of sense. Because a lot of my tone comes from my amps, from my pickups, from my fingers, from the few effects that I put in line, and I didn't want that much, I don't want to say coloring, but give on the low end. I wanted the low end to be tight, a little bit tighter, so you have that higher wattage handling capability, so that the low end gets less mushy, a little clearer, and lets all those other things in the signal chain do what they're going to do. So a little more transparent on the low end.
Now I want to hear it.
Yeah, I mean,
the way you just described it, I want to hear
subtle,
it.
but it's everything is in the 10%. You can have a speaker or anything else that's 90%, but if you don't have that last 10%, that's everything.
It's so true.
When somebody tells you, well, it's 80% there, it's 90% there, then it doesnn't matter. It's got to be, everything,
It
or
really
nothing.
does.
So we got there, and there's a lot of science involved, which you lay people wouldn't understand, but no, I'm just kidding. But I learned a lot too. I learned a lot about when I got involved with the process, which is wonderful because I like learning about things these are my tools, that allow us to get to where hopefully we want to get sonically.
So this is great. What do you got coming up in the near future?
Well, I've just finished a Souls of We record, which is a second Souls of We record, which is a little harder, more adventurous project that I've done over the last 6 or 7 years.
All right.
That's coming out. We just shipped that off to the label this January, so it'll come out this spring, April and May, I believe, April. And then we're just finishing up the new Lynch Mob record with Brian Tichy on drums, Jeff Pilson on bass, Oni Logan on vocals. And we're going on tour next week. We'll be touring throughout the year and in support of the new record, which will come out this summer. And we've got Mick Brown back.
Really?
And it's the all original Lynch Mob, which is pretty cool.
Nice.
And so we'll be touring our butts off around the world. Going to Japan in April or May, I believe. Going to Japan with Souls of We. So a lot of touring, a lot of new records. Building those Mr. Scary guitars that you might have seen out there, all hand built by me, hand carved out of a chunk of wood. I mean, I go down and chop down the tree practically. Well, I don't do that, but everything besides that. Yeah, they're labors of love. Yeah, just like the speakers.
Can't wait to hear him. Thank you for taking the time. It's a pleasure.
Oh well, thank you for caring.
Sure.
Yeah, all right.